Remember being a kid and going to Blockbuster on a Friday night? You stand there staring at the wall of game cases, reading every box, flipping each one over, hoping something would stand out. You could only rent one game, one shot to make your weekend fun. Somehow, GoldenEye 007 or Halo or Call of Duty 4 made your way into your selections, and the FPS genre got you hooked, and you have never turned back. You played these games until your thumbs hurt, you laughed, raged, and maybe even fell in love with something unexpected. Now we have access to hundreds, if not thousands, of FPS games at our fingertips, but somehow it feels even harder to find something that actually hits. There I was, booting up yet another FPS game, hoping this would be the one. With so many FPS games to choose from, finding one that sticks should be easy, but it's not. Every game feels like it's almost there, but something's missing. So what's the deal? Is it the overpriced content hardly worth the space on your hard drive? Is it the lack of transparency between the gamers and the devs that makes it seem like we are yelling in deaf ears? Is it the feeling like the games are being rushed with game-breaking bugs that live in the game for the entire life cycle? That's what we are here to find out. And so let's start from the beginning. When FPS games were first introduced, they were very simple compared to today's standards. Tail Gunner is sourced as one of the first FPS games ever back in 1974. And as you can see, this was just a space shooter. It wasn't until 5 years later that a genre of maze shooters in Akalabeth that took FPS games by storm and spawned countless copies of other maze shooters. Kinda how Battle Royale is today. And also like Battle Royale shooters, maze shooters was the style at the time and dominated this space for the next 15 years. And who can blame them? It was a proven genre, it worked, and it was safe. Why take any chances when you can just choose to print money? Fast forward into the 90s, you had games like The Catacomb that added some models and effects to show your character, instead of just overlaying a simple crosshair. Then finally in 1992, you had Wolfenstein 3D that took a lot of everything mentioned before, including a simplified HUD, fighting off World War II German soldiers. As revolutionary as all this was, it was simple. A simple character model, a simple combat system, a simple HUD system. It just worked. But going into the millennium, as hardware became better, technology improved, and programming games became easier, game developers were able to create FPS games that were immersive and realistic. But they were still riding the wave from previous years, and the key difference was they haven't forgotten the techniques of what made a game enjoyable. But it's no secret that technology outpaces culture, and the problems in gaming from yesterday aren't the same problems today. So now, as a consumer, we prioritize graphics, sound design, and story over fun, game mechanics, and substance. Meanwhile, there are people out there working on technology that is 10 years ahead of what we can't even imagine. Never mind games like Bodycam, I'm talking about games not even made by humans. Will you be the first in line to buy the first FPS game made by AI? So yes, games today are already using AI to create in-game assets and generating AI voiceovers. Is this the direction FPS games are headed in now? When did the priority of substance over profit change? It's true, games back in the day had different priorities. It was almost as if they asked themselves, what can we do differently to stand out? Today, most AAA studios are publicly owned companies owned by corporations and backed by investors. It's now almost as if they care less about innovation and more about what is the minimum investment for maximum earnings. Now, if you ask me, this take feels like it's specifically played within the FPS genre. For example, If you look at the studios and people outside of the FPS genre, such as Rockstar or Hideo Kojima, they actually follow their passions and rarely take shortcuts. Unpopular opinion, but even Nintendo is doing a better job with their IPs than Activision Blizzard, EA, Riot Games, or Ubisoft. These companies have somehow, possibly inadvertently, created an infinite money glitch, and this is how this glitch works. Step 1. What niche are you trying to fill? Is it a hero shooter? Copy Overwatch. Is it a tech shooter? Copy Counter-Strike. Is it a military sim? Copy core mechanics from Tarkov. Is it a battle royale? Copy Fortnite. How about Respawn or arena shooters? Well, I'm sorry gamer, those genres are unfortunately dead as disco. Now, this approach may not be 100% a bad approach, but it definitely lacks innovation, and it allows prioritizing profit, which is why you see so many FPS games have seasonal battle passes, and battle passes for your battle passes, and battle passes for limited time events. Let's not forget that early access is also a thing. Can you imagine back in the 70s when the first FPS games came out that people were talking about disguising beta tests as early access, and people would not only pay the full price for the base game, but also pay over $100 on top of that, and even prepay the battle passes to get 2 weeks of early access to do so? Have FPS studios gotten more lazy and more greedy? I think in their core, everyone just wants a good game to brag about. But overall, it's no secret. At the end of the day, it's really coming down to quarterly earnings and churning out players to allow the next season or release. So I am open to the idea that it may actually be us as players and our interests have changed. Whether you're an adult or a kid after school, we are constantly bombarded with responsibilities. As a kid, my biggest problem was paying attention in school because I couldn't wait to get online to play some FPS games. And as an adult, well, it's more or less the same. But if you're alive today, nothing really scratches that itch. You're also left with a choice in today's FPS games with skill-based matchmaking where you're stuck thinking, do I really want to play a game like it's a $1 million tournament? Or do I just want to have fun with my friends because I don't know when is the next time I'll play with them? A lot of the times I make the decision, no, I don't want to play a meat grinder where I'm stuck on the losing side versus a 4-stack. But maybe it's our fault. Maybe it's that we have shorter attention spans, and if the game doesn't provide immediate dopamine hits, it just sits in the game library, collecting dust. And I'm sure many of us are guilty where we have more FPS games on Steam than what we actually play. So at the end of the day, I'm left with this. Do I just suck it up and play the game that best fits my interest? Or do I just grind camels and buy the DLC for that quick dopamine hit? Will games finally get better? That is a lot of questions to ask, but maybe there is no real answer. One thing is true, that every time a space in gaming has just been ruined by corporate greed, a game will come out that will revolutionize the entire industry. Whether that is a AAA studio or a small indie company. Like a lot of people out there, I'll be waiting for that next great FPS game. Or maybe I'll just quit FPS and play GTA 6 when it comes out. I don't know.